All right, here we are, pre-calculus 4 low notes video for Friday, November 7th. I will not be with you. I'll be traveling to Indianapolis to run marathon number 58. If I break 2 hours and 50 minutes, there might be an easier assignment coming your way. And as we are in a marathon edition, today we were brought to you by Canyon Bakehouse gluten-free bread. The body's the temple. Goo Roctane Energy Gel. Doesn't that sound enticing? And finally, Noon Sport Hydration Tropical. Those are little tabs I put in my water. All right, good time, folks. Electrolytes. You guys have this paper. If you don't, it's going to be at my first desk there. And what I want to do is I'm going to start section 4.1. First off, chapter 4, I think, is going to be right in our wheelhouse. Exponential and logarithmic functions. Guys also might hear the dryer working in the back. All right, obviously the finest of quality here at Yak Math Videos. So I want to talk about number 9. All right, number 9 right here. Okay, so notice how you are given this table f x f of x and g of x, right? All right, so there's Yogi too. He is loud. He is loud. All right, so I have the answers here written off to the side. We are going to have to go. So we're looking at 9. You have it. We're going to look at 9, and then we will do 11 and 12 together as well. All right, so first off, number 9 says, what is f of g of 1? All right, so we start with the inner function. We figure out what g of 1 is. All right, so when x is 1, g of x is 0. Okay, so then we figure out what is f of 0. When x is 0, f of 0 is a negative 1. All right, for b, when we have f of g of negative 1, we figure out what g of negative 1 is. So when x is negative 1, I get g of x. G of x is 0. Okay, so I have to figure out, well, what is f of 0? When x is 0, f of x is negative 1. Sometimes you'll see these questions on the ACT. Then I have g of f of negative 1. When x is negative 1, f of x is a negative 3. That means when x is a negative 3, g of x is 8. 8. Okay, then I have g of f of 0. When x is 0, f of x is negative 1. When x is negative 1, g of x is 0. Okay, over here. And then we have e, and then we have f. G of negative 2. So when x is negative 2, g of x is 3. And when x is 3, g of x is 8. Lastly, f of negative 1. When x is negative 1, f of x is negative 3. When x is negative 3, f of x is... oh, that's my mistake. It's f of negative 1. Yeah, so f of negative 1 is a negative 3. And when x is negative 3, f of x is negative 7. So f of negative 3 is a negative 7. Right, if you hear Yogi Hardy, your 13-year-old dog breathing heavily, that's Yogi. All right, in problems 11 and 12, evaluate each expressions. Now, using this graph, all right, so let's zoom in here quickly. We're going to use this graph. All right, so first off, there it is. Let's, maybe we'll try all these. First off, we do f of negative 1 first. G of f of negative 1. So f is this bottom equation. Looks like an absolute value. All right, so f of negative 1. F of negative 1. X is negative 1. I get a y value of 1. So I'm going to take that y value, and I'm going to plug it in as the x value for g. So now I figure out what g of 1 is. G of 1 is 4. All right, that would be my answer, 4. All right, what is g of f of 0? I figure out what f of 0 is. So f of 0 is 0. Okay, then I figure out what is g of 0. G of 0 is 5. Right, yeah, that's got to be 5. Definitely looks like it goes through 5. We have to assume that. All right, so what's g of negative 1? G of f of g of negative 1. So g of negative 1 is 3. Now I need to figure out what is f of 3. F of 3 has got to be negative 1. All right, I don't like how This isn't, you don't have all the points given. What happened here? G of -1, G of -1 was, G of -1 was 3. F of 3 was a -1. I think I put it in the wrong spot. All right, so then let's figure out what's G of 4. G of 4 is 2. All right, G of 4 is 2. Then we have to figure out what is F of 2. F of 2 is a -2. That one is right down there. All right. For the second one, what is G of F of 1? All right, so we figure out what F of 1 is. F of 1 is -1. Then we figure out what G of -1 is. G of -1 is 3, the Y value. All right, for B, G of F of 5. Got to figure out what F of 5 is. F of 5 is 1, the Y value. So I'm going to plug that Y value. And for X, in F, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's fine. F of 5 is 1. Very good. All right, then I got to figure out what G of 1 is. G of 1 is 4. All right, F for C here. F of G of 0. G of 0. G of 0 is 5. So I got to figure out what F of 5 is. F of 5 is 1. And lastly, F of G of 2. Got to figure out what G of 2 is. G of 2 is 2. Then I got to figure out what F of 2 is. F of 2 is a -2. All right, nice. So for the next part here, we might look at some problems that are actually on this page. In fact, we are going to look at, for these next 4, for examples 4 through 7, find F of G of 4, G of F of 2, F of 1, and G of 0. It's the exact instructions you say. You see there, in fact, we're going to do 13 on that page, and then maybe 1 or 2 more on that page. Then we're moving on. All right, so first off, I have F of X is equal to 2X. I have G of X is equal to 3X squared plus 1. So I want to find F of G of 4, and you guys would have dominated these questions last year. All right, so I first need to figure out, I need to evaluate this inner function G of 4. So what I do is I plug 4 in for X right here. G of 4 is 3 times 4 squared plus 1. It's 49. Now that's the score at halftime. I got to take 49 and plug it into the outer function. I got to figure out what F of 49 is. I plug 49 in for X right here. F of 49 is 2 times 49, 98. All right, then on B, I have G of F of 2. So I figure out what is F of 2. F of 2 is 2 times 2, which is 4. And I take 4 and I plug it in for X. We've done that before. 3 times 4 squared plus 1, 49. All right, C. What is F of 1? All right, what is F of 1? F of 1 is 2. What is F of 2? F of 2 is 4. G of 0. G of 0 is 1. Then I plug 1 back into G. All right, G of 1 is 3 times 1 squared plus 1, which is 4. Again, all this should be a pretty good review from college algebra. All right, this is in chapter 6 maybe? I don't know. It's been a bit of time now. That's for me teaching that course, that is. 15, let's see, we're gonna do 15 on your page here. So we're gonna do F of G of 4. All right, so gotta figure out what G of 4 is. Got a new equation here. So it's 3 times 1/2 4 squared. That's 8, 1/2 of it. I'm sorry, it's 16, 1/2 of it is 8. You get a -5. Then I'm gonna plug -5 in for X right here. This function, this question's a little bit more interesting. I'm gonna get 97. B, F of 1. I plug 1 in for X. I'm gonna get 4 times 1 minus 3, which is 1. And then I'm gonna plug it back into F and I'll get 1 again. All right. G of F of 2. All right, I'm gonna plug 2 in for X right there. I'm gonna get 13. And what is G of 13? G of 13 is not a great answer. I'm gonna plug 13 for X. That's 169. Half of it is -84.5. So -81.5 or -163/2. I prefer that one. All right, then D, we have g of 0. Okay, so g of 0 is simply 3. And then I'm going to plug 3 back into the outer function. G of 3 is 3 minus 1/2 times 3 squared. 3 minus 9 over 2, which is going to be 6 over 2 minus 9 over 2, which is a negative 3.5. All right, it's the same 4 things we're looking for here. So we have f of x is root x plus 1. We have g of x is 3x. F of g of 4, I'm going to plug 4 in for x right here. I'm sorry. F of g of 4 means I'm going to plug 4 in for g. It's the inner function always. I'm going to plug 4 in for x here. I'm going to get 12. Then I want to figure out what f of 12 is. I plug 12 in for x to get root 13. All right. What is f of 1? So f of 1 is the square root of 1 plus 1, which is square root of 2. Then I'm going to plug the square root of 2 in for x. So I'm going to have the square root of the square root of 2 plus 1. Interesting. G of f of 2. F of 2 is 3, so I'm going to have the square root of 3. All right, and then g of root 3 would be 3 times the square root of 3. G of 0. So I plug 0 in here, and I get 0. Okay, then I plug 0 in here, and I get 0 again. Nice. All right, sweet. Take a look at 7 here. We have the square root of x to the third, or f of x is equal to x to the 3/2. And then we have g of x is equal to 2 over x plus 1. So again, the same sort of thing you did last year. You know, the functions are going to look a little bit more interesting. That is it. So f of g of 4, I'm going to take 4, I'm going to plug it in for x right here. It's going to be 2/5. Nice. All right, so what is f of 2/5? Plug 2/5 in for x. Honestly, it's 2/5, so 3 over 2. Here's what you can do. You can take 2 and raise it to the third. You can take 5 and raise it to the third. And that's 8 over 125. And then you're taking the second root. You're taking the square root of it. So that definitely looks a little bit better. I'm only going to do A. What am I doing? I'm doing A and C here because I think you might... Or no, I'm doing A and B because this one might look familiar. All right, so what is f of 2? I'm going to plug 2 in for x. So it is 2 to the 3/2, but 2 to the third is 8, and you're taking the square root. Taking the square root of 8, which is 2 root 2. And then what is g of root 8? It's 2 over root 8 plus 1, or it's 2 over 2 root 2 plus 1. Yeah, nice. Okay, then for 8 through 10, we're going to find... It looks like it says fog, but it's f of g, g of f of f, and g of g. All right. So you would have done a few of these in college algebra, and we're going to spend a lot of time on them now. So f of x is 2x plus 3. G of x is equal to 3x. So f of g is simply f of g of x. So what is g of x? It's 3x. So I'm going to plug 3x in for x right there. So it's going to be 2 times what I'm plugging in for x, 3x plus 3. We get 6x plus 3. So instead of just getting just a single value, a number, I'm going to have an expression. All right, so then I have g of f of x, which is g of 2x plus 3, which is going to be 3 times what I'm plugging in for x, 6x plus 9. Then I'm going to have f of x, so f of 2x plus 3. So I'm going to plug 2x plus 3 in for x right there. So it's going to be 2 times 2x plus 3 plus 3. 6 and 3 is 9. Nice. Then I have g of x. So g of 3x, which means I'm going to plug 3x in right there. 3 times 3x, 9x. F of x is a negative x. G of x is 2x minus 4. So I'm going to have f of 2x minus 4. I'm going to have the opposite. So I'm going to plug 2x minus 4 in for x here. So it's going to be the opposite of what I'm plugging in for x. Bam. Then I'm going to have g of f of x. F of x is a negative x. So it's going to be 2 times negative x minus 4. Then I'm going to have f of x. So it's f of negative x. I'm going to plug negative x in for x here. So it's going to be the opposite of negative x, which is simply x. Then finally, I have g of x. G of 2x minus 4. I'm going to plug 2x minus 4 in for x right here. 2 times 2x minus 4 minus 4. Nice. And then number 10. This is roughly half the section that we did today. F of x is 3x plus 1. G of x is x squared minus 3. F of g of x, first order of business. So g of x is this. I'm going to plug x squared minus 3 in for x right there. So it's going to be 3 times x squared minus 3 plus 1. Then I have g of f of x, g of 3x plus 1. So I'm going to plug 3x plus 1 in for x. So it's going to be 3x plus 1 squared minus 3. So I'm going to FOIL this. Simplify it. It's going to be 9x squared plus 6x minus 2. I just ran out of room. All right. Then I have f of x again. Pause this. I should have said this earlier. Pause this whenever you need to. I'm up way past my bedtime. Making your first of 2 videos. So f of x is going to be f of 3x plus 1. So I'm going to take 3x plus 1 and plug it in for x right there. 3 times 3x plus 1 plus 1. Then I have g of x. G of x is x squared minus 3. So I'm going to have g of x squared minus 3. I'm going to plug x squared minus 3 in for x. So it's going to be x squared minus 3 squared minus 3. All right, I squared, I get x to the 4th. The inner product is a negative 6x squared, of which I double. And then I get negative 3 and I square it. Bam. And I subtract 3. All right, folks, that is your notes video. Those are your notes. Make sure you have them. I will expect that you have them written down and ready to go for Monday. You can do a few questions, I think, on your homework set number 6. Homework set number 6. All right, this is Yak Math Videos signing out.